Welcome to Tiny Chair Talks. What is Tiny Chair Talks? Tiny Chair Talks are open conversations in tiny chairs. Conversations and discussions and topics that normally people don't want to talk about. But guess what? We do. During season 2, my co-host Courtney and I will be talking about various different things from our personal perspectives in society, spirituality, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Totally unscripted, honest, and transparent. Things that you, the viewers, have also said that you guys want to hear. We welcome your input. So without further ado, let's get comfortable. And we are back, as promised.
Yes.
Part 2, guys, college. So let us know which direction we want to go this time, because I know the last time we spoke,
Yes.
it was definitely about, not necessarily pros or cons, but the this to it,
College.
the that,
Yeah,
college.
exactly. So here's our question from the first video, which will be linked to below. I'm about to graduate high school next year, and I'm trying to think about the future. A lot of people say I should go to college, but others say a degree is just a piece of paper. Is college really worth it? And we gave a little bit of an intro to college and our experience with it and some things you might want to consider. So now we're going to go maybe into the other side of alternatives to college.
Nice.
So what do you think on that?
Well, some alternatives, some examples, I guess, would be, I'm thinking maybe like trade schools?
Vocational training.
Vocational training.
Right.
And I kind of mentioned the last video, cosmetology or culinary school and so on and so forth. So I feel like, that's a good if you've weighed out your goals, you absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, know that you are not interested in going for 4 years for any degree. You know where your love, your passion, your desire lies, and you've already kind of set a blueprint for yourself and for where your path is. And if you know, then I say go for it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes we have to, college is so exciting and such a big deal and it's pushed for that sometimes we almost don't think about it and assume college is what we're supposed to do. And I think it's not that college is bad, it's that not going to college is bad, it's that you've got to make sure you think about it both ways. And so we actually have a few points here that you might want to consider. So one thing is program content. Right? In the 4-year degrees we talked in the last video about, that can be an advantage, having extra content, more well-rounded perspective. But if you're really wanting to get in there and trained and you don't want, to be taking classes that aren't pertaining to your skill set, then maybe the 4-year degree is not the way to go. Outcomes. You already touched on this.
A little bit, yeah.
Outcomes. What are you looking to get out of it?
Yep. And you got to know exactly, like we shared earlier, know what it is that you want, know what your goal, your purpose is, and if you can do that within the 2 years, as opposed to stretching out to the 4 year,
right.
If you can do it, go for it. I know me in particular, I stretched out my time because I had to work, I had to pay for my apartment, my car, and I needed to take more time than having, rather than 12 credits, maybe I needed to do 6.
Right.
And it worked for me.
Right.
So know yourself.
Yeah, know yourself, absolutely. And another one is class sizes. For your college, you're likely going to have really big class sizes. And so even in those more focused classes, you might have less focus from your teacher rather than having someone training you to do a specific job.
So what teaching learning style were you? Were you more visual, auditory, tangible? What was your style?
Man, I kind of just liked, I think auditory the most and reading.
Wow.
So for me, a regular kind of conventional education was no big deal.
Wow.
Because I hear the teacher, I read the books, it wasn't a big
That is
deal.
amazing.
But I don't know many people like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's absolutely
Yeah.
needed the more one-on-one, repeat it for me, and get involved, hands-on, very tangible.
Yeah.
That's the type of learner that I was. So
Right.
for me, I needed the small school setting, but I knew. And again, like you
There you
said
go.
earlier, it
Gotta
helps out
know.
so much financially, and it just makes your college navigation path and all of that much easier if you know before going in.
Right. And you're maximizing the time that you are spending. You're maximizing that, and I think and there's kind of a stigma about you don't have a college degree. And I even know someone who recently got their GED instead of completing high school, but not because they were dropping out, but because they wanted to start college early. And so they got their high school equivalency, are starting at a community college, saving money, just bought their first car, and then is going to transfer as they can later down the road. And that's giving them options and time that won't be wasted. There's no, so I think that's definitely important.
Good stuff.
Definitely important. Another thing is employer connections. A lot of the time, if you do something less traditional, you're more likely to have one-on-one FaceTime with someone. So you're going to be making plugs and connections a little bit better rather than just being one fish in the sea in a classroom with a professor that may or may not remember your name.
That's such a good point.
So there's a lot of those. And then the last one on this list we have is job security. A college degree can, in some cases, I think, give you a pretty solid, you're likely to get this position, but a lot of the times things are very generalized. And it's really difficult to get in anywhere right away.
But like we talked about the last video, so it's also nowadays they're going to a lot of certifications. And I know with a couple of my friends, they're going into the security, online security, internet security, and stuff like that. So many different certifications that one needs to have, as opposed to the individual who went to school for that. So it's very career specific, is what I feel.
Exactly.
What about yourself, though? How did you navigate through your college years? Did you go all four? Traditional, just stay in school? Did it work for you?
Well, I bounced around. I jumped in, didn't like it, quit for a while, went back, and I did a 4-year university for 2 years. And, got married, had kids, so that all changed, and I ended up finishing a bachelor's degree online.
Nice.
And I feel like that has served me, but I also feel like there could have been more simplified, streamlined, practical ways to get where I am today as well. So,
any regrets? Any regrets?
No regrets. I mean, it's heavy on my pocket. It's hard having those student loans. And I think this is another thing that we have to think of too. If you look back and realize I could have done that better, whether it's college or anything, just take it for what it is, move forward, and just keep pushing.
Can't change it, right?
Can't change it, so just go forward with that and be thankful for what you got.
Yeah, I had to, it took me 5 years because I had to work. I knew what I wanted, I had my focus, I had my goal, but I knew I needed a smaller setting, and I knew that I had to support for myself. And, make certain that I had, money in my pocket. So.
Well, and for me, from graduating high school to completing my bachelor's degree, with all the things that I did bouncing around and changing, it was 7 years for a 4-year degree. So there you go. You never know. So college, this or that, it's up to you.
It's up to you. And make the best of it, right?
Yes.
So my philosophy is, and if I could leave you guys with anything, is college is not necessarily for everyone, but education is.
There you go. I love it.
Great.
It's true.
It's true, right? There you go. So guys, thank you for tuning into another episode of Tiny Chair Talks. College, is it for me? What's the point of it? Hope you learned something for it. The link.
If you go to theprojectrefresh.org, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, all the social media, right?
Just Google us, you'll find us.
Don't forget to leave comments below, ask your questions for future videos.
Absolutely. We're everywhere, guys. Until next time, take care.
Bye.
Peace.